Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us for our webinar, The Experts Among Us, Finding Expertise via Confluence Questions. We'll be recording this session and we'll submit a link to the recording over the next few days. Just a quick note, our next webinar, Jira Administrator's Primer, is scheduled for September 3rd at 11 a.m. Central. Christopher Pepe will be delivering this webinar, and it's a 1-hour abbreviated version of our standard Jira Administrator's training course. As you have questions, please be sure to provide them in the questions utility and the GoToWebinar control panel. We'll queue them up and answer them towards the end of the session. On the phone today from Praecipio Consulting, we have Charles Wells. Charles is a Senior Solutions Architect here at Praecipio Consulting, and my name is Shayla Sander. I head up Business Development, and I'll be serving as a moderator for this webinar. We've been Atlassian experts for over 5 years now and are one of 4 Platinum Enterprise experts in the country. Close to 100% of our projects are Atlassian related, and we have over 100 clients across the U.S., ranging in size from small 20-person companies to Fortune 20 enterprises across many different industries. We help our clients with process-centric technology solutions that facilitate traditional business process management, IT service management based on ITIL, and software development lifecycles. In the SDLC space, we're helping clients transition from waterfall to agile. Whatever widgets you produce, we help improve the quality and throughput at the lowest cost. We support our clients in all facets of the Atlassian product suite and build methodologies and solutions across the entire line of products. This includes best practice advice and guidance, solutions architecting and implementation, licensing, installs, upgrades, and maintenance, hosting and managed services, and of course, training. So let's go ahead and turn things over now to Charles to lead us through the webinar.
As we begin our content today, I'd like to provide a bit of background on myself as it relates to Confluence. Most of my experience with Confluence has revolved around operations support. Prior to joining Praecipio Consulting, I managed a service desk for one of our clients. The service desk's main goal was increasing resolution rates, and we did this by taking on tasks from other departments. We leveraged the collaborative nature of Confluence to build and maintain our procedures and workarounds. We maintained a repository of around 150 procedures from 5 different internal groups, as well as supporting ticketing information from Jira. While we had built an extensive knowledge base and could assist a number of colleagues with issues, we weren't always sure whom to contact in cases of documentation errors or updates. In some cases, we had worked with certain individuals to create the initial documentation, but we struggled when those folks moved on or were unavailable. My example here is a good segue into our topics for today. Our topic map includes an overview and benefits section, in which we'll make sure we have a good foundation for our later topics. In situations and challenges, we'll uncover some of the obstacles and needs that experts meet on a daily and ongoing basis. We'll discuss how Confluence Questions helps both individuals and the company identify experts and our leveraging portion, and how we can all contribute to that assessment. In the demonstration, we'll get into the application for a test drive and first-hand look at the features. Lastly, the questions section is your time to shine and interact. I'm a firm believer that the more questions we discuss, the more we'll all get out of today's session. Number 1, overview and benefits. Let's get some basics under our belts in this section. We'll level set on the concept of experts by examining definitions and discuss the benefits experts bring to bear. It's preferable to start with a common understanding, mostly to prevent me from getting lost, so let's start with our definitions. For the purposes of today's talk, we need to know how we're defining expert and expertise. Merriam-Webster defines expert as someone displaying exceptional skill or knowledge gleaned through formal or informal experiences. We could humorously say that's either an educational setting of some kind, or a good old-fashioned experience, i.e., a series of failures through which one perseveres to an overall achievement. Expertise, then, is that hard-earned understanding and knowledge. Normally, it takes actual experience, aka trial and error, failure, perseverance, in order to obtain a designation of expert. We can use the analogy of any craft where one starts off as an apprentice and advances over time via proven skill to higher levels of competence until reaching the final stage of master. An expert is one who has mastery over a particular area of thought, practice, or job function. Companies thrive from the actions of experts. They learn fast, adapt, and keep things running smoothly, even during difficult situations. Their proficiency, system and process knowledge, which is often highly specific and anecdotal, read here how we really get things done, and their necessity help to create cohesion and continuity. Experts tend to be tenured in their areas, and as such exert powerful influence to shape culture in their vicinity. Their mere presence can serve as a balm, providing security and instill confidence in end users, which can contribute to high satisfaction and stickiness. For those of you who have served in production support, you can probably relate to a situation of fielding a call only to have the reporter demand or beg to be transferred to so-and-so because they can resolve the problem better or faster than anyone else. Employees, and here you and I can both read me, myself, and I, also benefit. Through interaction with experts, we become productive members of the corporate community faster and with fewer errors. In fact, it's through interactions with experts that we as employees grow and change. In highly adaptive cultures, the presence of experts begets more experts, as employees challenge themselves to carve out niches of preferred expertise. Our second topic, situations and challenges. We've level set our conceptual understanding and discussed some of the positives associated with experts. Now let's look at related circumstances requiring expertise. Typical situations requiring experts, I can't really say that without thinking of the Dave Matthews song, but our typical situations include onboarding new employees, dealing with urgent and critical issues, production outages, especially those happening off hours, knowledge transfer, theoretical analysis of assumptions and risks, highly specialized scope or situations, change requests, integrations, or business continuity issues. This is just a sampling of what undoubtedly is a larger list. Yet all of these situations have the same need: experts to guide, facilitate, and at times save the day. All of us have been on one side or the other in several of these situations, and we could probably discuss at length how experts accelerated the process for all concerned. Let's discuss challenges. Challenges with experts tend to fall into one of two categories. Either they pertain to ourselves or the company as a whole. As employees, we rely on experts in our given area of responsibility. Most often, we collaborate with experts when we're new to the job as a quick and efficient means of getting ourselves up to speed. Our interaction and dependence on experts should decline over time as our own proficiency increases. Companies often leverage experts during periods of change and growth. Experts are needed for theoretical discussions and contingency planning. Project managers require access to experts during a project lifecycle, and their needs could be sporadic more than consistent. Again, focusing on the employee. Typically, for most of us as employees, interaction with experts occurs in a tactical fashion. And often this could be a series of unrelated ad hoc encounters. While it's not uncommon for employees to know experts in their immediate sphere or area, it's often anecdotal and localized. When we consider the size and scope of today's distributed and ever-changing teams, experts often aren't known to the company at large. This fact proves frustrating in times of crisis, such as production outages or critical customer support. On the contrary, company needs gravitate towards more strategic concerns that are larger than single incidents or daily needs. From a managerial or HR perspective, we know we have great people. We did, after all, hire them for their prior achievements and abilities. However, it's rare to encounter consistent situations where HR or PMOs readily have access to the right resources for specific needs. The problem, because it's really greater than a challenge, lies in not being able to identify or understand how our employees' skill, capabilities, and thus expertise has changed and improved during their time with us. This may be the single most detrimental situation for the modern, agile company, who must have critical information in order to adapt and be nimble. I could say agile again, but let's not wear it out. Company challenges include proper team selection, reviews, bonuses based on expertise, and advancement opportunities. It's imperative that company managers and executives not only have access to current experts, but also that they maintain the capacity to detect future experts. Companies cannot grow by staying the same, and it stands to reason that being able to gauge the development and adaptations of their employees is tantamount to moving forward. Confluence Questions provides an instant forum for employees to post questions and receive answers from the entire corporate community. As collaborative as Confluence is in allowing the creation, sharing, and improvement of corporate knowledge, Confluence Questions amplifies on the interactive nature of the application. For instance, as users, we are exposed and can interact with folks outside our immediate role or geographic location. This helps both morale and a sense of inclusiveness within a corporate community. Additionally, there are distinctive advantages. Persistence in search. Questions are saved and preserved for future use or reuse and can be referenced as needed by current and new employees. Questions are also searchable and are included in Confluence search results. Employees having the same question or simply needing the same answer can quickly locate that answer via Confluence's powerful search. This benefit is great, especially for new users. They can query from the global header to pull back both pages and questions. As an aside, this activity usually helps me realize what I should actually be searching for or the questions I should be asking. Refinement. Answers need not be static. As new and additional users provide answers, the entire user base collectively determines the best answer by upvoting, so that refinement continues and the best possible answer is always evident. Imagine making a clay sculpture as a team. Everyone may contribute, but those with the most deft skill provide the smoothest contours or exacting detail, helping achieve the best possible result. In the same way, the user base crowdsources to determine the most appropriate, complete, or beneficial answer, providing the most expedient resolution to a question. Scoring and identification. Most important to our talk today, Confluence Questions automatically scores users based upon topics, answers, and upvotes to determine experts for specific needs or areas. So, simply by interacting with the tool to number one, provide answers, and number two, upvote additional answers that were beneficial to us as users allows Confluence Questions to handle the brain work and show us exactly who's good at what. We may even uncover some hidden expertise in ourselves. We've covered some basics regarding experts, noted typical situations in which we need their help, and we've also examined a few of the challenges faced by employees and employers with regard to expertise. Now let's take a look at Confluence Questions to see how this add-on can assist with these challenges. Let's begin by examining the interface. You'll notice that after it's installed, Confluence Questions integrates within the global header. So we can quickly navigate to that section. You'll notice that as a first-time user, I'm prompted to choose 3 topics of importance to me to begin watching. This way I'll be notified when new questions are posted that may interest me. Once we've clicked on questions and defined some tags, we're taken to the Questions tab. So you can see we can refine our results by recent questions, by popularity, those having more votes, or unanswered questions. This is good to help us refine searches when we're looking through the existing questions. If we don't see something that's there, we can quickly navigate and ask the question. You'll notice that we have the option to watch. We could watch all questions or specific questions. In this case, I'm watching the topic for Jira, and if I wanted to know who can provide admin rights to a specific Jira project, it may be a good idea for me to watch this question. I can also browse by topics. So if I wanted to see what's in this particular Jira instance, I can again refine my results by tags or topics. Now let's actually examine what it's like to ask a question. I can log in as a user. And go ahead and create a specific question. You'll notice when I insert my text, Confluence also goes ahead and does a search to see if I may be looking for something that's already existing. In this case, I'm looking for a Scrum training vendor, so I'm going to ask a new question. Some of the topics I can use. I can create a new one for Scrum, training, and then Jira, which already exists. Once I'm happy with the way I've got my question formatted and tagged, I can go ahead and save that. You'll notice it shows me the tags associated with the question, and I can see that I'm watching the Jira tag. It also tells me who has asked the question. And then if I was another user, I could go ahead and put an answer. I could put an answer here as Rosie, but if I knew the answer, probably wouldn't be asking it. So in this case, I can flip over to another user, search my recent questions, and go ahead and provide an answer. In this case, George has a possible vendor. We're going to include that. Once I solicit an answer or provide an answer, Confluence Questions asks me if I want to go ahead and watch this new label. And I'm going to go ahead and say yes. You'll notice as well that users have the ability to continue a dialogue, much like on a Confluence page. We could add a comment to either the original question or an answer. And then as the person who provided the answer, I could go ahead and edit mine if I wanted to. Now let's review the integration points. Again, Confluence Questions has installed itself into the global header. We can see how that pans out with new searches. Normally, you're familiar with pages being returned, possibly spaces when we search. Well, here I can go ahead and type in keywords that I happen to know exist in my questions, and I'm actually prompted with questions. So I could click on that and navigate to the "Where's the new hire packet?" question. Also, if I type version, you'll notice that I've got a page result for copy-paste versions, as well as the question, what version of Confluence are we running? This may be one of my favorite features, the fact that it integrates with the global search. I know as a personal user of Confluence, I'm constantly searching in the global header. Rarely do I actually navigate through the page tree. It's just faster for me. And now I know I can take advantage of that same functionality to find questions, or really to find the answers. So now let's examine a little bit more and discuss how we can find experts. The one tab I didn't cover is the Experts tab. So within Confluence Questions, the system actually goes ahead and rates us. So all those users providing answers will get a listing here. We can browse experts. You see we have Elroy, we have George, and Cosmo have all provided answers. And they're ranked accordingly. Cosmo has 15 points, Elroy has 35. Two of his answers, he's provided 2 answers, 1 has been accepted. His most answered topics, HR, new hire, and Confluence. You can see my statistics are displayed on the right. I'm currently logged in as George. I have 23 points right now. I've provided 4 answers, and 1 has been accepted. I can also browse all of my contributions or my questions or answers. You can see I have 23 points currently. Let's go back to Rosie and accept George's answer. So if I refresh my screen, we've got George's answer now, promoting Intergalactic Agile as a possible vendor. If I were to accept that answer, right, now this question changes a little bit in nature. It's not going to show up on my unanswered. And if I look to recent, now we see here it has been answered. So our answered questions have a check mark. Let's go look at George's points. George is now the winner, or the current leader, I should say. He went from 23 or 25 points to 38. He's provided 4 answers, and 2 of them have been accepted. I'm also going to log out as Rosie, log back in as Cosmo, and upvote the question. I'm going to browse to Confluence Questions. Look for our Scrum Master training question. I can upvote the question and the answer. And in this case, Cosmo wants everybody to know he's not necessarily cheap when it comes to being able to beat Cogswell. So now let's go look at our questions. If we search on popularity, we now have our new question at the top. You'll notice it tells us we have 1 answer. Rosie has asked this question, and then the time we updated. So we get a lot of information quickly. Again, those questions that have been answered have a green check. The number of votes also comes into play on our main Confluence dashboard. You're familiar with the popularity tab, which normally shows you pages that have higher commenting or higher liking. We can also take advantage and integrate questions as well. So now those bubble up in popularity based on their upvotes and their answers. Here you can see a specific answer has been upvoted and the question as well. Here, for the new hire packet, it looks like we have 3 upvotes on the question. We can also look at the popularity tab. As we upvote questions and answers in Confluence, those will trickle into our popularity tab. You're familiar with this functionality showing you pages in Confluence that have high commenting and likes. Confluence takes advantage and adds Confluence Questions as well. Here we can see we have 1 question or 1 upvote to the question and 1 answer. Here, for where's the new hire packet, we have a 3. Let's go see what that means. It's actually telling us we have 3 answers. So the popularity tab gives us feedback on both the question and the answer. In summary, we all face challenges locating expert knowledge when we need it. We can effortlessly overcome this challenge by leveraging Confluence Questions to tell us who is good at what. And the best part is, all we have to do is continue using a tool that helps us every day. Confluence. By actively posting questions, answers, and providing feedback on answer quality, we're helping the community and ourselves. This way, we can quickly locate the folks with the right skills, or said another way, the right folks at the right time. One of the things I enjoy most in my role with Praecipio Consulting is the opportunity to demo products in live settings such as these webinars. However, on a personal note, being a big fan of questions in general, I'm also glad to have time to field questions from all of you today. This is always a positive experience for me because undoubtedly we'll all learn something new. If you haven't already asked, feel free to use the question utility in the GoToWebinar control panel. Looks like we have a question from Paul. Paul says, we're using Jira Service Desk and have linked our JSD with Confluence Spaces. This lets us query our Confluence articles when making new Jira issues via the JSD dashboard. Will the search results return Confluence questions when browsing for knowledge base articles? Paul, that's a great question. The answer is currently easy, and let me go pull that up for you. As it stands now, the Jira Service Desk team has an open ticket. I can bring that into my browser for you. So JSD 35 is the request to get the functionality into Jira Service Desk that you're looking for. So currently, when you query Confluence from your Jira Service Desk instance, you're not going to see Confluence questions results returned. This open issue with Atlassian would be the best way to get that functionality in a future release. So if you go to this URL, search for that ticket there, JSD 35, and vote this issue up, you can help get this into a future release. And then you would have the functionality. I would agree with you, that would be excellent functionality. Obviously, other people do as well. This ticket has been open. So go upvote that, have your colleagues upvote that as well, and that would be the best way to get that functionality. Our next question from Jen. Jen asks, how do I stay informed on topics of interest to me? Well, Jen, great question, and that's easily answered. Let me navigate back to Confluence Questions. You'll remember the first thing I showed you is the ability to browse. You can browse your questions, the topics, and the experts. Well, if we go look at those topics, we can quickly decide which topics we would like to follow. So when we hit watch, we're actually going to be added to watching that tag. Now we're going to get email notifications when there's activity around this topic, very similar to how you get notifications when watching certain pages or spaces in Confluence now. So this is how you can stay up on those topics of interest to you. We've got another question from Eric. Can OSQA data be imported into Confluence Questions? Well, let's go find out, Eric. I believe I researched this as well. So here we actually hit Atlassian Answers, and let's go see what they have to say. So a very similar question, can I import OSQA data into Confluence? Atlassian writes, we're working on an importer. We're also working on a REST API so you could use for the migration. So again, just like we did for the question from Paul, we can pull up these individual Confluence Questions tickets with Atlassian and then upvote these for functionality. So again, allow importing from other QA platforms like OSQA. And again, go add your vote to help get this functionality in a future release of Confluence Questions. So you'll notice the publish the REST API has a few more than the importer. And then, of course, 25 right here for the Service Desk integration as well. So again, right now, those features are under request, under consideration. The more votes Atlassian receives on these requests really does determine what they choose to work on. They want to go with those functionality and those features that the majority of people are requesting. So again, I encourage you, Eric, to go upvote this issue, get your colleagues to upvote that as well, and then you can watch these issues as well and keep track when things are updated. Looks like those are all the questions we've got right now. I'll turn it back over to Shayla.
As a reminder, we look forward to our next webinar, Jira Administrators Primer, on September 3rd at 11 a.m. Central. Thank you very much for attending. A link to the recording will be submitted over the next few days. Feel free to share it with your colleagues. And please contact us with any additional questions you may have. You can reach out to us at contact@praecipio.com. Thanks, everyone, and have a great day.